Hey, what's going on everybody? Boilon here and welcome to another video on Marvel Strike Force. Well, it's going to be part Marvel Strike Force and part something else. Now, the main topic of this video is we're going to be talking a little bit about the revenue stream of Marvel Strike Force. This isn't something that I've talked about in a while. In fact, it's something that I've kind of just not really thought about much lately until a discussion that I had in my Discord channel with a few people. Actually, we were talking about Lord of the Rings and not specifically Marvel Strike Force. And then I went on to Marvel Strike Force and checked out what kind of revenue this game was making lately. And why do we care? And it's mostly that I'm just interested in and a little bit surprised actually at a few things about how things have been going in Marvel Strike Force and also what's been grabbing Scopely's attention as of late. It's actually pretty interesting, I think. So if you're ready to go, everybody, then let's boil this down. Okay, and so here is the first thing that I want to talk about. This is the downloads and revenues by Scopely by title from last month, by the month of June. We're in July, so obviously this is all the revenue and download data from the month of June. Now, if you were to organize by revenue, and let's zoom in a little bit actually, if I can, to make it a little bit easier. If you organize this by revenue and by downloads, this is what you'll see. So what's interesting, we're going to talk about this a little bit more in a little bit, is Monopoly Go. This is the biggest thing going right now in Scopely land, but also that's a lot of revenue and a lot of downloads more broadly. So if you see here that you're kind of looking at 16 million $16 million, and this is just, by the way, I believe this is just the Android store, and 5 million downloads that way, which is honestly pretty crazy. Because if you look at everything else that Scopely has, I'm honestly surprised that Star Trek Fleet Command managed to get this much revenue for how little downloads that they actually get. About 90,000 downloads allegedly on the Android store. I find these downloads very sus, mainly because we know that the active player base, at least in Marvel Strike Force, is around 300,000 people, give or take. And I've been told the Star Trek Fleet Command actually only has an active player base of about 100,000. So how is it that they're getting so many downloads in a month that, a lot of how the way that they do their advertising is through streamers. You've probably seen it on Twitch and stuff as well, where they just have these sponsored streams and they get you to download the game, level up to 10, 20 or whatever, and that's how they get paid. And that's really all it's about, is just sheer downloads, not the actual player base that stays with the game. So if we scroll down a little bit lower, Marvel Strike Force is actually number 6. It actually has 700,000 downloads in Android only in the month of June. How is this possible? How is this a thing when the player base is only 300,000 and they only come away with $2 million from the Android store? Now, I know what you guys are going to say, that there is the online web store and that takes up a good chunk. But let's add that both in with the Apple version of this and kind of take a look at that. So Monopoly Go, 18 million from iOS. By the way, this is just absolute bonkers. So between Android and iOS, we're looking at $34 million from Monopoly Go. We're going to touch on this in a little bit here. But let's take a look back at Marvel Strike Force. So 3 million plus the 2 million from Android, that's 5 million. Now, this is a huge drop from what it used to be even a year ago. I know a lot of people will make sort of post-COVID arguments and things like that it's never going to be as it was, and that's fine. But I mean, this is just still a huge drop. Now, we're going to take a guesstimate. I know we don't know how much money they're pulling in for the web store, but I am willing to bet everything that I have that they are not making more than both the iOS and Android store combined. So the 5 million that they're making, I highly doubt that they're making 5 million more on the web store. I would actually be surprised if it's 50%, which would be about 2.5 million. So let's just, for sake of argument though, say maybe it's at 50%, that they're making 50% of their total revenue from the web store, or an extra 50%, which would be about a 7.5 million total. 2.5 from the web store, 5 from the app stores, and that's 7.5 total. Let's just say for sake of argument. It may or may not be that way. I don't think it's going to be much higher than that for the amount of that the web store is bringing in. Just my opinions. Star Trek Fleet Command. Also, I don't know if they have a web store. I don't play the game. But the fact that they're actually on par with Marvel Strike Force's earnings is actually concerning to me, because Star Trek Fleet Command has a very low player-based number, but they've managed to monetize the crap out of Whales and Krakens over there. So Marvel Strike Force at the same amount with 2.5 times more downloads on every platform, and yet they are making the same amount of money. So what does that mean? Does that mean they're not monetizing enough? I don't even want to say that. Or does it mean that people are there fake downloads? Are there bot downloads? Like, I don't know what this means. That's why I'm wanting some help from the community to try and inform what I'm looking at and kind of what I'm seeing, because this is a lot of downloads for not much return on the income. Now, I want to kind of take a look at some of the stuff in the past, because I do have this for whatever reason. I used to look at Sensor Tower a lot more in the past, and this here specifically is October 2021 from Google Play. This is 6 million from October 2021. That was 3 times as much as they're making now, and about 8 million on the iOS. So combined, that's about 14 million in October 2021. This was before the web store, of course. But if we say hypothetically we're at 7.5 million now, this was still about twice as much as they're making now. So they've actually declined by about a good half, which is a lot in, a year and a half, basically. Now I have this as well. This is from January 2022. Over here in the corner, it's a little bit hard to see. I'm going to zoom in. This is a photo that I had over here. You can see January 2022 worldwide. So this is the I don't know. Is this the Android store? Yes, maybe. iTunes. Sorry. There, it's not the iOS store. So 8 million in January 2022. This isn't too much longer after the October 2021. But here we're still getting a solid 14 million, which is pretty much the same as October 2021. And this is in January 2022. So this is about a year and a half ago. But still, a solid 14 million, a solid, well over 12 million plus, of course. And I think it was trending this way for a good while, up until I would say early 2023. I was looking at it every now and then, and the revenue data was, I know we can't see the web store details, but I'm just saying that I really don't think that it's amounting to that much. Not as much. It's not going to be more than both app stores combined, because I just really don't think that that's what's going on there. And I think when you compare this to other Scopely titles, it's really, really shocking. Now, Electronic Arts, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, are making similar figures, actually. So this is for the Android store. They made 3 million and 300,000 downloads. Still a lot of downloads, even actually more, in fact, I think, than Marvel. And that's 3 million on the Android store. And then this is iOS, and they made about 4 million. So that's 7 million. I don't know if Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes actually has a web store or not. If you're playing the game, let me know in the comments down below, because I'd love to know. And I think what this tells me is that Star Wars is making comparable money to Marvel Strike Force for a game that's 2 years older. That's something that I find personally interesting. But what I found more interesting was that Marvel Strike Force is doing as poorly that I didn't think it was doing this poorly, actually. Even if Star Trek Fleet Command doesn't have a web store, like, it shouldn't be anywhere near Star Trek Fleet Command, given the fact that the active player base in Marvel Strike Force is 3 to 4 times as much. It's just honestly shocking. The other shocking part is how much money Monopoly Go is making for Scopely, because this is their new big thing. Now, before, you may remember, I talked about Stumble Guys. This was maybe about in the fall of last year, because they acquired this game as well from Kitka Games from one of the Nordic countries. And this is basically a ripoff to Fall Guys. And they're making as much money as Marvel Strike Force is. So Monopoly Go, maybe a lot more resources are being diverted to Monopoly Go. This was made in-house. This was not acquired. This was actually done by Scopely. This was probably because they made it really big with Yahtzee back in the day. The only reason I know this is because some of the older Alliance members, like back in the day, used to tell me about how Yahtzee was huge with Scopely, and now they did this Monopoly Go title that's making a crazy amount of money. And so crazy because one of the best games in the world, I guess, in terms of monetization is actually, and I want to bring it up over here on this other page, is Honkai Star Rail. Now, you might have heard about this game. This and Genshin Impact, so I just wanted to zoom in a little bit here if I could. My damn mouse scroller is just really screwing up. Anyways, there we go, the zoom in. And we can see Honkai and Genshin Impact from May and June. These are huge numbers. Some of the biggest mobile games in the world. It's an Asian game, but it is a global phenomenon. Honkai Genshin Impact making some crazy money. 81 million and 34 million in May, and then 54 million and 30 million in June. This is mainly because the game got released in May for Honkai, and so that obviously went down. But the fact that Monopoly Go is making as much money as Genshin Impact is honestly shocking. So shocking that we need to bring this up. Yes, I downloaded Monopoly Go, and we are going to take a look at this. Let's have a better background. We're going to play this just a little bit. I'm going to show you for maybe about 5 minutes here or less how this game plays. And to some extent, I'm actually not surprised because it honestly feels like a slot machine. It feels like a genuine slot machine. There we go. Let's just maximize the screen. I hate these vertical games, honestly. So they have a login calendar. What do you do in Monopoly Go? You might wonder. Actually, is there some music? Let's get some music going. Let's get some nice little music. There's monetization on dice rolls. I'm sure all of you are familiar with Monopoly, the board game. It's so simplistic, but you're playing by yourself. And that's the crazy part. Okay, so yeah, you get to collect free dice rolls, you get a crap ton of dice rolls, and that's really all you do. You actually can auto it, and it's just crazy. So you're playing on a Monopoly board by yourself. Alright? And I have, right now, you get 30 dice rolls a day. Like, it's your energy. And you can buy more dice rolls, you can get it through, I guess, like I did, like logging in, and you build stuff. In your city or your town that you're in, I think I'm in London right now, you actually can move around a little bit, but you're not playing with anyone. How is this game making so much money? And I'll show you. We can just put on auto, actually. Okay, so I roll. Oh, I went to jail. Oh, shit. Okay, so now I have to roll doubles to get out. You know, the classic Monopoly rules. Oh, I did it. I got out. And I got 2 free dice rolls. Okay, now we can keep going. So you could sit on auto, basically. And it shows, as you go around the board, you will collect money. You can do a variety of different things that you wouldn't do in Monopoly. You can do things called bank heists and other things that gives you an illusion of playing against another player. But really, you're just going around the board by yourself. And the monetization comes in the form of your little model thing that you go around the board. Dice rolls is a big thing. And in-game money that you can see being added up on the top of the screen. So this part is just crazy. Okay, what do I do with this money? Well, I'll show you. I'll stop and I'll go into my build menu. And so I'm in London. Yes, London in the background. Woo! And I guess while I was away, this is the second time I've been on, you get your buildings like damaged by other players during these special events that happen sometimes. So I'm having to spend money to fix them. Alright, and then I upgrade these buildings. What do these do, you ask? Well, it gives me like level ups, essentially XP that I get towards my account level. And you'll see it right here, that now I just got a level up. Level 35, I guess. I unlocked some new features, maybe. I got some more dice rolls as a result. And whatever the hell that is. Quick wins, complete a set of daily tasks for quick rewards. So, like, more daily objectives. For a damn Monopoly board game, single-player, dice-rolling, gambling fiesta. Alright? And then we get to, like, then we just spend the money and just upgrading these buildings. We get more levels up. And then when I run out of money, I have to go back to the board. Alright? It's that simple. Honestly, oh wait, I finished London. So now we get to move, I think now we get to move on to another city. Board complete! So now, it's going to take me to another city. And now I've upgraded myself from London to Venice. I think you start at New York City. So now we're on a brand new board that I'm having to play. Welcome to Venice. And now I get more dice rolls that I already had. And then I do the whole thing again. And I just go around the board, and I land and pick up money. I'm at 138 dice rolls. I don't know. How am I feeling about Monopoly Go? I don't know what to say. I'm just going to put not really. No, I don't want to tell you why. And we're just going to go around and do this some more. And some more. And there we go, a chance card. Take a trip to the nearest railroad. You might get some exciting footage here in this gameplay. Honk, honk. We get to do something called a shutdown, where I think this is where it kind of blows up the building or tries. And so this is Carol's board, and I get to click on one of the buildings. So let's just click here randomly and see what happens. Sometimes they have a defense shield, though. But they didn't. So I attacked it and I got some money. Like, what is this kind of, like, PvP Monopoly? It's absolutely insane. So let's go back. Oh, no, it's already there. So we're doing the auto rolling again. Collect 3 dice rolls. And I just keep going around collecting money and just doing this over and over and over again. And maybe the demographic for this game is mainly for older people. Like people 35, 40 plus. I want to say like 40, 45 plus even, because I don't know how many people who are even like in their 30s that are going to get amused by this. I think you'd have to be kind of old and maybe have a lot of money to spend. And it really just feels like gambling. It reminds me of, for those of you who have maybe been to a casino and have maybe been to those themed slot machines, that's what this feels like. This feels like I'm on a Monopoly-themed slot machine. That's really what it is. And these are the extra bonus games, because those happen in slot machines as well, right? Like, it's just crazy. Absolute insanity. So, that's Monopoly Go, guys. It's not any more crazy or difficult than this. You literally just auto-roll across the board, you pick up money, you upgrade your buildings, and you land on certain tiles for chance and railroad crap like this, and continue this until you run out of dice rolls for the day. Right? And maybe that's addicting, is it? I don't know. I find it kind of weird, to be honest, because I'm not actually playing with anyone, and that seems kind of boring to me. But maybe this is just the new thing. I honestly, shocked how much money this game makes. And does this mean anything for Marvel Strike Force? Because this is resources that Scopely has been putting into this game, which is making 10 times as much as Marvel Strike Force does. Maybe not 10 times, at least 5 to 6 times more than Marvel Strike Force, maybe a bit more, and absolute insanity. So has resources been diverted to this game? And because this is an in-house Scopely product. So this is something that they've been planning, and maybe as a result that they haven't put as much attention into Marvel Strike Force, especially over the last 6 months, which is where a lot of the complaints start rolling in with the game. Maybe. Am I crazy? Maybe. Who knows? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below, as, you know, I let the Monopoly dice roll play out. And that's going to be the end of this video, everyone. And until next time, stay safe and healthy. And I'll see y'all later. Maybe I'll see you on the Monopoly dice roll. Now I'm going to let this play out, and then I'm going to go to bed. Alright, I'll see you guys later.